You'd better follow my way? This is the perfect heaven because you're not here. Heaven by TAEYEON. A song about reaching heaven. We know the lyrics are quite clear in their message. But did you know that the music video is filled with symbolism that helps us dive deeper into its story? In this video, we'll explore them. But before we begin, remember to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share the video link. That would help us a lot. Now let's get started. The lyrics of Heaven play with the idea of a personal yet unreachable heaven. They describe an intense, almost magnetic attraction towards something or someone that feels like salvation in the midst of darkness. However, there's a paradox, that perfect heaven only exists in the absence of the other person. The song conveys a sense of complete surrender to an uncontrollable desire, as if it were a dream or an alternate reality where emotions are heightened and everything feels almost surreal. There's also a tone of defiance, an invitation to follow this path, no matter the chaos it may bring. In short, it's a journey between fantasy and reality, where TAEYEON lets herself be carried away by the moment, exploring a dimension only she can see. But does the music video convey the same message? Let's find out. At the start of the music video, we see TAEYEON in a laboratory mixing potions and burning food. Then she appears again in the lab, finds a glowing fish in a lake, and finally serves it on a tray to a man. This sequence suggests that TAEYEON has left behind a romantic relationship and is about to start a new one from scratch. Implicitly, the video conveys the idea that her previous relationship ended because of her own actions, and that whatever she did, she is determined to do it again. However, this decision fills her with anxiety, which she cannot hide. Let me explain. In the context of the video, the dishes represent TAEYEON's romantic relationships. This becomes clear in one of the first scenes, where fire symbolizes the end of a relationship. Associated with both life and death, fire here marks the closure of a romantic cycle. On the other hand, the laboratory scene reinforces the idea that TAEYEON was responsible for the outcome. In many contexts, a laboratory is a metaphor for artificiality and forced creation, reflecting the human desire to alter nature and modify its rules. In this case, it suggests that she tried to force or change something in her relationship, which ultimately led to its failure. What's most unsettling is that the video makes it clear that, regardless of what she did exactly, she will do it again, this time with the intention of enhancing her relationship. This is reinforced in the scene where she returns to the laboratory, with an egg visible to the right of the frame. The egg symbolizes something that has yet to be born, but has the potential to do so. Then, the image of the fish in the lake further supports this idea. Its blue glow represents the peace of the unconscious, but when it flickers in front of TAEYEON, it suggests that this peace has been disrupted, reflecting the anxiety she feels about what she is about to do. In the sequence of the first chorus, we see TAEYEON entering a white room while dancing. Inside, there are two extremely long tables with empty chairs, covered in shattered, poorly prepared, or completely burnt dishes. This is followed by scenes featuring apples made of hair, and it ends with her chopping ingredients with an axe that has a red heart drawn on it. This sequence suggests that TAEYEON has a long history of failed romantic relationships. However, this does not stop her. She is willing to take drastic measures to achieve her goal, even if it involves manipulation. As the saying goes, all is fair in love and war, right? Let me explain. The long tables filled with ruined dishes represent her past relationships, all altered in some way, whether by mistake, neglect, or, as in this case, intent. However, her entrance, dancing into the room, reveals that none of this makes her hesitate. On the contrary, her attitude expresses determination to change things. Dance, considered a rhythmic ritual, symbolizes transformation and the breaking of inertia. That is, her desire to alter the course of her relationships. The scenes in which she adds apples made of hair to her recipe represent what TAEYEON does to change things. Hair, being a part of the body and a symbol of vitality, makes the apple more organic and dangerous, imbuing it with a life of its own. This suggests that she is manipulating her current relationship, using whatever means necessary to attract, control, or even consume her partner. Finally, the image of TAEYEON chopping ingredients with an axe reinforces the idea of extreme actions. The axe, accompanied by the heart symbol, represents sacrifice for love, much like in stories where heroism and devotion lead to radical acts. As already hinted at in the previous scene with the blue egg in the laboratory, her intention is to enhance the relationship. From her perspective, this is not something bad, because for her, the end justifies the means. In the sequence of the second verse and chorus, we see a close-up of TAEYEON's eye, followed by a scene where she chases a bear holding yellow flowers. Finally, the sequence concludes with her dancing in front of a cake that is ruined by 2 candles. This series of images suggests that for TAEYEON, the changes she has made so far are not enough. As she delves deeper into her analysis, she comes to the conclusion that she must go further, even if it means transforming what keeps her romance genuine. In her perception, monotony and the simplicity of everyday life are ruining her relationship. Here's why. TAEYEON's deep analysis is represented in the close-up of her eye. In many contexts, the eye symbolizes the connection between light and intellect, conveying the idea that to see is to understand. This shot suggests that she has reached a new understanding of her relationship and, with it, has decided to take action. Her intention to change what makes her romance authentic, despite the consequences, is reflected in the scene where she chases the bear. Symbolically, the bear represents the wild and untamed, something that has not yet been refined by civilization or reason. In this context, the bear embodies what TAEYEON has not yet touched, the genuineness of her bond, which had remained intact until now, unaltered. But why do we say that the bear represents this genuineness? The key lies in the yellow flowers. Yellow is a color associated with energy, vitality, and enlightenment. This meaning extends to the bear, representing the vitality and authenticity of the relationship that TAEYEON had not yet managed to alter, until now. Which brings us to the next question. What, in TAEYEON's deep analysis, led her to this conclusion? The answer lies in the final scene, where she dances in front of a cake with candles. In this image, the cake symbolizes her romantic relationship, while the candles represent her perception of their dynamic. Since candles are associated with individual life in contrast to cosmic and universal life, they embody routine, domesticated love, and monotony. From TAEYEON's perspective, this daily routine is what prevents their relationship from reaching its full potential. That is why, even though it is authentic, she feels it is not enough. She is convinced that she must continue her transformation to achieve that idealized version of love she seeks: heaven. In the following scenes, we see TAEYEON finishing her recipe. She holds an eye between her fingers, and when she places it on the meringue, it transforms into a cherry. Finally, she presents the completed dish. This sequence suggests that TAEYEON has put the finishing touches on her relationship. However, while she perceives the result as something promising, something with potential, in reality, it is the complete opposite. She has created a completely distorted relationship, far from what could have been something authentic. When TAEYEON holds the eye, it symbolizes the fragmentation of vision. In mythology and symbolism, an eye separated from its body represents an altered perception, a contrast between objective reality and the manipulation of truth. This suggests that TAEYEON is not seeing her relationship as it truly is, but rather as she wants to see it. This self-deception is reinforced when the eye transforms into a cherry. Instead of recognizing the true nature of what she has built, TAEYEON perceives it as the ideal outcome she has always sought. This connects with the scene of the blue egg. She sees in her relationship a potential that, in reality, never existed. Thus, the image of the gelatin takes on a new meaning. No matter how much she looks at it with hope, what she has in front of her is something entirely different from what she believes. In this scene, we see TAEYEON watching her partner eat the dish she prepared, eagerly awaiting his reaction. The manifestation of that potential that, as is now clear, only she can see. However, it seems to take longer than expected. Is it just a matter of waiting for it to take effect, or will the outcome be the same? We will soon find out. At the end of the music video, we see the boyfriend entering the white room, followed by a close-up of the cake that has already been consumed by the candles. He then sits down in front of TAEYEON at a round table with a solitary rose in the center. Finally, she leaves, closing the story. This sequence conveys that, although the transformation process has been completed, the result is not as expected, which displeases TAEYEON and prompts her to leave. This message is reflected in the rose on the table, the man's clothing, and the cake with the candles. The rose, singular and prominent in the center, symbolizes culmination, achievement, and perfection, representing the end of the transformation process TAEYEON undertook. However, the man's clothing reveals that the result was not what was hoped for. He continues to wear dark clothes, consistent with his attire in earlier scenes of the video. This contrast highlights that, although TAEYEON's changes are evident, reflected in her pink dress, he remains static, without notable transformations. To TAEYEON, this is similar to what the cake with candles represents. The monotonous and routine dynamic they had has not disappeared. This leads her to conclude that all her efforts were in vain, culminating in her departure and the closure of the story. And this was the analysis of Heaven. Remember, if you have a different perspective on the MV, feel free to share it in the comments section. Thank you for watching the video until the end. See you soon!